Oh, I just bit my cheek. I can feel it in there. Hello, how are ye? So my hair, I'm kind of flexing with today because I used this stuff on it. I even brought it out here so I can show it to you guys. This what's it called? Cara Color Conditioner. This is the platinum one, and I think it really like made my hair very, very nice. It's not as yellow anymore. It looks yellow as fuck on camera, but it's really not. I promise. I know it looks super yellow on camera. So, my boards turned out so good. I'm so excited about it. Let me go show you. They're like pretty much cured at this point. The only thing is like you really can't tell a difference between the one that I put. If you have no clue what I'm talking about, I did some like epoxy shit in my vlog yesterday. If you did not watch it, you could watch it. Or if you don't want to watch it, you can fast forward, like God knows how long I'll talk. Anyway, this one is the one that I did with like the sparkly pearl pigment. And the only difference that you can tell between this one and the regular one is the pearl pigment kind of has almost like an ivory cast to it. You're probably not going to be able to tell on camera. Don't look at my flat chest. I got a sports bra on. And then this one is the regular one. So I think we're just gonna do like the white paint instead of, well, the guy that I was telling you guys about, the YouTube channel, Stone Cold Countertops, he sells like additives, like pigment additives. So I think we are just gonna go with the white. Hello, lighting. Yes, I can flex with this all day long. I wish I had something to set my camera on because I wanna tell you guys a story about our owners. I don't think I'm gonna do a story time. I'm just gonna tell it in the vlog. So anybody that like doesn't give a fuck about it doesn't have to watch it because I don't know, it's in a vlog or something. I don't know. But I might get cut off in the middle of it. Depends on if I get a phone call. I'm waiting on a phone call from Tim because it is currently, I'm vlogging kind of late because I've been on the phone all morning. 1:25, fuck. Should I start it now? I need to put this up because it's hurt my arm to hold it up like this. So y'all throw it in the cupboard. I've been on the phone all morning because I don't even know if I want to like put this out there because it's like not my story to put out there. It's my mom. I'll just say this. My mom may be moving in with us because she found out that the person she was engaged to and that we considered family is not the person we thought he was and is a piece of fucking shit. So there's that. That's all I'll say about it for now. Anyways, so remember yesterday in my vlog how I told you guys, I'd mentioned in my vlog this like stupid coupon, and I mentioned how I totally forgot to tell you guys about the previous owners of this house and like all the craziness that we went through, like when we very first signed the papers over to our house. So we gonna do that right now, girl, right now. So if you know me at all, you know that I have to preface every fucking story I tell. My camera's probably gonna overheat. I might have to stop in case did I finish that sentence in case I've had an energy shot today? Did I finish that sentence that that I have a contractor coming in, or not a contractor, but like a repairman coming in to fix my dishwasher? My motherfucking 2-month-old dishwasher is not working, and he came last week and looked at it and said that it could be one of two things. This is what he told us last week, which just rubbed me the wrong way. He told us, and my hair is crazy today because I didn't blow dry it and straighten it. I just let it go curly. He told us last week that it could be one of two things. It could be a motor, your motor, that you need a new motor after only having it for 2 months, which is fucked up. Or it could be something else that I'm not really sure. But he said either way, no matter what it is, I'm going to have to pull the dishwasher out. And to keep myself from having to pull the dishwasher out more than once, I'm going to order a motor and make you wait a week until the part comes in. So you have to do your own dishes for a week like I'm some kind of peasant that washes their own dishes. The fuck kind of bitch does he take me for? This motherfucker. No, I'm just kidding. I'm an idiot. Okay, so He's supposed to come between 1 and 3. It is currently 1:30, so I might have to like cut off in the middle of the story and retrack, but I will go back over the footage and see where I left off. So, as I was saying, if you know me, you know that my neighbor is completely staring at me right now. She literally just stopped her car in her driveway and was like looking at me through the kitchen window, which, by the way, we have not gotten blinds for. Anyways, if you know me, you know that I have to preface every story from the way back. You know what I'm saying? So, rewind and play. Let's think back to, what was it? October? September? October? No, maybe, who cares? Who cares what day it was? So, this is what happened. So, we, went to sign papers over for our house. September 10th, we got news that we were going to close on our house on the 10th. And what happened was the original owners, whom, by the way, had not lived in this house for a year at this point, who had tried to sell it before and didn't end up selling it, which I will go into that later, per what the neighbors have told us. So they had not lived in this house for a year. They had stuff in the closet. They had like the little shelving, y'all know, like my little shelving unit right there. It was full of stuff. Like the master closet in the bedroom, I mean. They had the like bro's room, his closet, full of stuff. The basement, like the unfinished part of the basement that I was in last night, doing like my epoxy thing, was full of stuff, just stuff. The garage was full of stuff. The shed in the back was full of stuff. And they were saying like, oh, because our original closing date was supposed to be on the 15th. So the prediction for closing was September 15th. Things had went a little bit quicker than everybody thought that they were. So we ended up being able to close on the 10th. Well, they came back and said, we would like to have until the original closing date to get the rest of our stuff out. So first off, it's a man and a woman. I'm not gonna like, obviously not say names or anything. It's a man and a woman, and the man, we had come here one day, just randomly in between us putting an offer in and us closing. We had stopped here one day to show Tim's mom the house. And we were like walking around the house, showing her the house. And so we were in the back, our car was parked in the driveway. We were in the backyard and we were like looking in the windows and stuff. This is before we closed. We had the offer in, they accepted the offer, but we hadn't closed or anything like that yet. So we're looking in the windows, whatever. We come around the side of the house and I see a truck in, like, not in the driveway, but parked along the street. And I was like, oh my God, is there somebody here? And Tim was like, oh fuck. So we come around the front of the house, I was like, and I seen the garage door open, and I was like, oh my God, Tim, they're fucking here, they're here, what the fuck? We're just like walking around the yard. It'll come to be that it ends up being the man that owns the house, the husband and wife, ends up being the husband. Super fucking nice guy. He was like, hey, how you doing? I'm the owner, blah, blah, blah. I really wanted to meet you. Our realtor has been very, very, what do I want to say? What did he say? The words that he used, I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. He said basically like our realtor has been really kind of like passive aggressively not wanting us to meet with you until after closing, which I thought was weird. Kind of understandable because obviously if the owner and the buyer meet up, they can, you know, if they were to meet up at some point in time, they could literally just kick the realtors out and like do the sale between themselves. So Tim was like, it's probably just that. I was like, yeah, but like the verbiage that he used, I was like, that seems a little bit weird, because she seemed like very intent on us not meeting them. So he was super fucking nice. He actually let us come in the house. He's like, oh, do you guys want to look through the house? Because Tim obviously was like, you know, I just brought my mom to show her the house and blah, 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 since, you know, the offer was accepted or whatever else. And he's like, oh, well, do you want to go in and like show her the house and yada, yada, yada. So he was like, yeah, that would be awesome. The nicest guy ever. Super normal, super nice, okay? Keep that in mind. We closed on the 10th, but gave them, that's what it was, gave them until the 15th in order to get their stuff out of the house and hand the keys over. So the 15th comes, we go, swap keys. I was at work when the whole thing went down. So Tim calls me at work and he's like, so we got the keys, they got everything out of the house, but they said they didn't get anything, apparently, out of the shed, and we didn't get the keys to the shed, which, mind you, at this point, we hadn't even looked inside this shed yet. Like, there could have been a fucking dead body in there for all I know. Like, there was nothing in the shed, okay? So, at this point, we had not even seen inside the shed, none of that. They still had the keys to the shed on the 15th. And they said, we did not have time to get stuff out of the shed, even though, girl, they haven't lived here for a fucking year, okay? Just keep that in the back of your mind. Just keep that little tidbit in the back of your head while I'm telling y'all all this. So they said the reason why they couldn't get anything out of the shed is because they had brought a trailer and it was raining that week, which it did rain, and they couldn't pull the trailer into the yard in order to get their shit out of the shed, okay? So Friday comes along and we're like, okay, well, we have the keys to the house, we're gonna send people in, whatever. We had like people coming in and painting, blah, 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 blah. They said, we'll get our stuff out of the shed Friday. Friday comes, Friday goes. We come Saturday morning, there's no keys. Now, mind you, in between all this, Tim talks to the lady owner of the house, and she's the one that tells him this story about the yard, and they didn't want to leave rats in the yard and whatever else. Then she proceeds to drill him about the types of things that we're doing to the house. So she's like, so what do you guys plan on doing to the house? And she kept telling him, like, this whole time, she would call him and say, we really want to meet up with you. There's some things that we want to give you for the house. And at first we thought it was like completely innocent, right? Because we had already met the husband. So we thought that's probably Tim telling me my contractor's coming. God damn it, my neighbor's outside again. She's probably like, why is this bitch talking into her cupboard? So animated. Anyways, back to the story. This is gonna suck because I gotta hold my camera the whole time, and y'all know this bitch can tell a story. So, anyways, so where was I? Oh, yes. So we thought it was like completely innocent, and we're like, oh yeah, no problem. Because she's like, there's some things that we want to give you for the house and blah, 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 blah. And we're like, okay, yeah, cool. So Friday comes and goes. I think Tim, had sent some guys in here to do a little painting and whatever else. Friday comes and goes. Saturday morning comes, and Tim had told her, I don't think he told her at this point, but she had, I think maybe sent him a text message or something that said, we are going to come get the stuff out of our shed, or your shed now, whatever she said. We're going to get the stuff out of the shed. We will leave the keys in the garage. I want to show you how to, we're going to show you when we meet up, okay? Because remember, at this point, we thought completely innocent. When we meet up, we want to show you how to change the code on the garage. And I'm like, first of all, this is not your house anymore. So I really don't want you in my garage, okay? So she just kept hounding him. Like, I'm telling you guys, she would text him like multiple times a day. Like, I want to meet up, I want to meet up, I want to meet up. And would like drill him. Like, what are you doing to the house? What kinds of stuff are you doing to the house? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Whatever. And Tim's like, I don't know. I don't know what we're doing. We haven't decided yet. We don't know what we're doing. He just kept saying, I don't know what we're doing, okay? So, as I said, Friday comes and goes, Saturday comes. There are no keys anywhere. And I think at this point, he may or may not have said, You can just leave the keys in the shed, like no big deal, whatever. But she kept saying, I want to meet up, I want to give them to you personally, whatever, right? Saturday comes, no keys to the shed. Not only is there no keys to the shed, but they still have not gotten their stuff out of the shed. So Tim texts her and says, did you get your stuff out of the shed yet? And she's like, no. She went into this big long story about how she had to go to her aunt, go see her aunt who lived in Cincinnati, or blah, blah, fucking blah. You know what I mean? They hadn't got the shit out of our fucking shed yet. So she says, which, you know, they had originally told us they were going to get it out that Friday night. So she says, we'll get the stuff out tonight, okay? And this is Saturday morning, mind you. So Saturday morning comes and goes. Because we kept driving around the house. Because at this point, it was a Saturday, and I don't think any of I think they had a big job going, and none of his painters were available to, like, come to the house that day. So, we kept driving around the house to see if they were, like, coming to get their shit out, and we would drive by it because we were just, like, running around town that day. So we would drive by the house every couple of hours, and not only were they not here, but the shed was still fucking locked. So we were like, what the fuck? So probably, like, mid to late afternoon towards the evening, Tim texts her again and says, have you gotten the stuff out of your shed? She says, no, and comes up with this, you know, fucking elaborate excuse, which we didn't, I don't care. I don't care. Get your shit out of my shed. She tells Tim, could we have until Sunday and possibly fucking Monday to get our stuff out of the shed? And at this point, obviously I'm getting pissed because in the terms of the law, this house is officially, legally ours. And if we wanted to be assholes, everything in that shed would legally be ours because they left it with the house. When you buy a house and you sign the papers over, anything that is left in that house is yours to deal with. And at this point, I was so fucking pissed. I'm like, I just want their shit out of our shed. Not only that, but we haven't even seen the inside of this fucking shed yet. And not to mention the fact that in between all this time, like I said, she's calling Tim and, like, drilling him about what we're doing with the house. What are you doing with the house? So I was like, if they don't have their fucking shit out of our shed by Monday, the shit's gonna hit the fan. Like, I am gonna call the cops and have them, like, legally escort their shit out of our fucking shed. She's still out there. No, she's not. I'm gonna put my phone or my camera back up here because it hurt my arm holding this thing up, girl. So, and I forgot to mention too that at this point, she, like, when Tim had texted her, like, have you gotten the stuff out of the shed yet? And she asked, like, oh, can we have till Sunday and possibly Monday? Tim's like, yeah, that's fine. She kept saying, I want to meet up, I want to meet up, I want to meet up. And at this point, we were just, like, so done with them that, or her, really, not even him, that I was just like, I just want to be done with these people. So, he was like, just leave the keys in the shed. And she kept saying, well, I want to meet you, and blah, 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 blah. I had to convert to the car because I got to pick bro up. So, where was I? Oh, now mind you, I know where I was. At this point, because this bitch was like, oh, we'll just leave the keys in the garage and we'll show you how to change the code on the garage. The minute she texted that, I was like, we're changing the fucking code on the garage ourselves. We'll figure it out. So, this was Saturday. So that Saturday night, when she had asked, can we have till Sunday, you know, possibly even Monday, whatever, she kept drilling Tim and saying, I want to meet, I want to meet, I want to meet. And Tim, you know, at this point, we were just so fucking fed up. Tim was like, please just leave the keys in the shed. And then she texts him this random ass text Saturday night or something, and she says, so I guess at like 11 o'clock at night, Saturday night, railroad, she says, so I guess you're mad at us. What are you talking about? He was like, what the fuck? So she said, we'll have our stuff out tomorrow morning. So Sunday comes along, and It was about 10 o'clock in the morning. I think we had driven by and seen them there getting their stuff out. Coincidentally, they were able to get it out without pulling the freaking, what's it called, the trailer that they had through the yard. So this whole time they were able to get their stuff out without backing into the yard, which was the excuse as to why they couldn't get their stuff out, because they couldn't back into the yard because the yard was wet and they didn't want to put ruts in it. Like, really, girl? So, you think the story ends there, my friend? It does not. So, they get their stuff out. They leave the keys in the shed, and we're like, finally! So, at this point, we had talked to the neighbors, and the neighbors were like, oh my god, dude, she's like off her rocker, blah, 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 blah. And our neighbor to the left of us has lived in his house for, I don't know, since it was like built. So our house and our neighbor to the left of us houses were built by this doctor back in 1993, okay? A few years later, he bought the house. They bought the house, whatever, fucking 2018 minus 15, 2003 maybe. They lived in that house for 15 years, okay? They bought it in 2003. He said, our houses, my house and your house, are basically exact replicas of each other. Because he said, my house is, you know, set up just a little bit different. His house is vaulted and all that stuff. It's just not as open as ours. So whereas, like, our kitchen and our dining room are open, he's got, like, a wall to his. They're just, like, flip-flopped, okay? He says, I know that house. I looked through it, like when we were going to buy our house or before they moved in or whatever. They have not touched that house. They have not painted that house. They have not replaced floors in that. They have not done anything to that house since they moved in there, okay? Remember that. So, they hadn't done nothing to the house since they moved in. So, along the way somewhere, you know, we had told this neighbor beside us that, you know, we had planned on doing a lot of stuff to the house. We said the carpet isn't that bad, which I think I told you guys before. When we first walked through the house, the carpet didn't look that bad, but as time went on, all these old stains started coming up. There was dog piss in the living room, which I'm pretty sure was not there when we walked through the house. And it was not a stain that had come back up. It was like, they brought their dog there when they got their shit out, and the dog pissed on the fucking carpet, which pissed me off, obviously. So because we had told that guy, our neighbor, which Tim knew him, I guess Tim went to school with his son or whatever else. We told the neighbor, like, some of the stuff that we planned on doing. So he knew this guy that owned, like a carpet cleaning company or something like that. And the neighbor, what is this lady doing, or man doing? So the neighbor had asked them, hey, can you ask him how much it would be to clean the carpets, blah, 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 blah. So this guy who owns this company knows Tim. So the guy told the neighbor that, because, you know, they all know these people, right? Small neighborhood. So the guy told the neighbor that, I know Tim, and there's no way he's going to leave that 15-year-old carpet in that house. So there's no point in them shampooing the carpet, because Tim's just going to go through and rip it out. He said, I know him. He just will. I know how he is. So, it got back to them. So then, after, you know, we thought everything was after we thought everything was smoothed over, and we were like, we're finally getting rid of them. We have the keys to our shed. We've got the keys to our house. It's our fucking house. There's nothing left of theirs in our house that is theirs. Everything that's there is ours, okay? And there wasn't anything there. So we're like, yes, finally, we're done with them, whatever. Tim's like, I'm just freaking gonna ignore. I'm just gonna ignore her from now on. So she tries to call him, and he's like ignoring her calls, ignoring her texts. She keeps texting him, keeps telling him, we want to meet up, we've got stuff to give you from the house. This fucking chick, she calls, so Tim obviously knows her number, right? So she calls him from another number, a different number, and he didn't know the number, and he owns a fucking business, so, you know, he's constantly got calls coming in where he doesn't know the number, and answers the phone, and it was her, And she says, let me turn my heat down. Because that's probably annoying and you can't hear me very well, even though I'm getting very heated and very loud. So she calls him and she's like, yeah, I still want to meet up. We've still got stuff to give you for the house. And we're like, you know what? At this point, like, the house has way more work to do than what we had initially thought. Like, the house was not taken care of at all whatsoever. I found fucking dog piss in my living room on the floor. That was new dog piss that you apparently let your dog fucking come in and piss on our floor. Tim was like, what kind of stuff do you want to give us? And she's like, oh, just, you know, stuff for the house. So then comes a point where she starts fucking drilling him about, what are you guys doing to the house? So if you're just gonna, she says, if you're just gonna rip the floors out, and if you're just gonna, like, rip everything out, I'll take the kitchen floor. Excuse me? You'll do what? I'll take the kitchen floor, and if you're just gonna rip the carpet out, are you taking the carpet out of the bedroom? I'll take that carpet. First of all, I don't know you from fucking dick. Like, I'm not gonna give you the floor, because here's the deal. The floor in the kitchen and the laundry room were floating tiles, okay? So if you know anything, like, about flooring, which I'm assuming 99% of you guys don't know about flooring, floating tiles, you can remove those and replace those. So if you have like a floating tile in your kitchen, if you're very careful, you can take those out. Because basically what a floating tile is you put like an underlayment down, and then the tiles are just these like tiles that snap together. They're not like glued in together. They're not grouted together, nothing like that. So you're capable of taking them out and putting them in another place. So she's like, if you're just going to take the kitchen floor out, I'll take that. And I'm like, the fuck you'll take that? First of all, I paid you for this house. I'll be goddamn, I'm not trying to be a bitch, but I fucking paid a lot of money for this house. I'll be goddamn if I'm going to turn around and give you shit that I paid you for. You want that fucking floor? You can buy that floor from me. Like, I'll take it to the fucking, Restore store and you can go buy it from there, but I'll be goddamn if I'm just gonna hand it the fuck over. What is wrong with you? So then she calls him again and says, yeah, there is, so you know how your spouting has like those little things that like okay, so the spouting comes off here and then there's this little thing that the water runs into and like runs off into the ground, like those little cement like spouting things. She fucking calls Tim the one day and says, yeah, we left this like spouting, whatever the fuck it's called, we left that there. I'd like to have that back if you're not going to use it. Tim's like, no, I'm not. He just like ignores her because she keeps texting him. He just like, or that one might have been a text. That one was a text, not a call. If I just said a call, I can't remember. So he's like, what the fuck? No, I'm not going to give you. Go buy one. They're like $5 fucking. What the hell? So, she then texts him again and says, there's a rose bush out front. She, in the midst of all this, asked him if he could have, if we were going to change the landscaping, which, by the way, the landscaping was completely overgrown. It had not been taken care of in years. The neighbors were literally texting each other, like, throwing fucking parties because we were cutting the landscaping down, because everybody in the whole neighborhood was like, oh my god, it looks like shit. It's completely grown over. They don't take care of it. They never mowed their lawn. The neighbor guy beside us was like, they would let their lawn get so bad that I would go over and mow it for them just so it wouldn't make my house look so bad, because it was atrocious. So she, in the midst of all this, she had texted him and asked him if we were going to change the landscaping. There were bulbs buried in the fucking ground. Bulbs buried in the ground that if I wasn't going to use those, she would take those. There was a rose bush in front of the house, which, by the way, I was like, what fucking rose bush? Because before we had our landscaper come in and like tear everything out, I'm like, what fucking rose bush? Because it was so overgrown you couldn't fucking see anything. There were these huge bushes and they were all overgrown all over the house. And I'm like, what fucking rose bush is she talking about? Here it's like 3 twigs. It's not even a bush. It's like 3 twigs that I guess technically would be considered a fucking rose bush, but it was twigs. So she's like, there's also a rose bush out front of the house. If you guys are going to change the landscaping, I'd really like to have that rose bush. It was my mother's, and blah, 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 blah. This whole fucking story. Tim's like, this fucking lady is nuts. And the whole time I'm like, block her number, just block her number. He goes, when I block her number, she calls from a different number, she texts from a different number. Like, she is nuts. What the fuck? So, you know, this whole time she's like asking us for all this shit. Come to find out, we talked to the neighbors, and like I said, they never took care of their house. Their landscaping was like completely overgrown. They never took care of that. They didn't do anything in the house, and the neighbor beside us was so enthralled that somebody else was moving into the all the neighbors, they're all texting each other like, oh my god, thank god somebody else is moving in. The one neighbor across the street like texts our neighbor and was like, they're out there with fucking chainsaws, it's about goddamn time, because we were cutting down all these overgrown bushes. It was fucked up. So fast forward, she finally, after like, apparently she got the hint after her 23rd fucking text message of Tim not answering her back. Still, to this day, says, you know, calls him from this number that he either doesn't remember or doesn't know, calls him and tells him about the weird fucking horse medicine or whatever, even though they haven't lived in that house for 2.5 years. Says, oh, the vet's sending us horse medicine to a house that we haven't lived in 2.5 fucking years. Told him she still wants to fucking meet up with us because she still has stuff from the house to give us. What the hell? So, now mind you, from the neighbors, we've heard, you know, like I said, all that stuff. So the neighbor happens to tell us that, and this isn't even, you know, the neighbor that was like talking shit about him. This is the neighbor to the right of us, because they like came over and introduced themselves, and everybody in the neighborhood's so nice. They come over and, you know, they give their dish about them and tell us about them. And which I forgot to mention too, when so this whole thing with the garage, like the code for the garage, when she mentioned this, she said that she kept saying to Tim, like, whenever he would talk to her on the phone, she kept saying, you don't have to change the locks. Don't worry about changing the locks. You don't have to change the locks. And Tim's like, what the fuck? And she's like, it's a really, what's it called? What is it called? What do I want to say? I got my words all tripped up. It's a really safe neighborhood. Our neighborhood's a really safe neighborhood. Don't worry about changing the locks. She literally at one point told him that he didn't have to change the code to the garage until they came and showed us how to do it. Girl, yeah, this is why you best fucking believe that the minute she texts that, I was like, change the fucking code to the garage. Like, hell to the no. My painters were like worried that she was going to walk in on him. Like, when they were there painting, like one of Tim's employees, Chad, who we're like really close with, he's like, I'm locking the motherfucking house. This bitch ain't walking up in here. Like, they would lock the doors when they were there painting because they knew everything that was going on, and they were so worried this bitch was just going to walk in our house and be like, hey, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? And not to mention, when she called him about the horse medicine in the fucking Bed Bath & Beyond mailer that she wanted, no, I threw that away, she still drilled Tim about, so what all have you guys done to the house? What kind of things have you done to the house? I'd like to see the house. And Tim's like, Tim just kind of blew her off. But I'm like, what the hell? Only we would have this like crazy ass fucking situation going on with the previous owners of our house. And it's so oh, I didn't even finish. Back to the neighbors on the right side of the house. They informed us that when they moved out, they took the fire pit. Like, they took all the shit from the house. If you guys remember when we first bought the house, they were like super worried about these like weird chicken lights that they had like in the kitchen. So they took lighting fixtures out of the house because I guess she's like real weird and like super cheap. But the thing is that like our neighbor on the left side was like, I don't even know why she's like that, because they're literally millionaires. Like, her family owned this huge like prescription drug company, or not prescription drug company, but pharmacy. Her family owned this huge pharmacy in town, and when her parents died, her and her sister took, you know, they sold the pharmacy and like they got the money from it or whatever, but it was this huge thing in town. So he's like, I don't even know why she's like that, because, you know, she's a freaking millionaire. That's probably why she's a millionaire. She's so damn cheap. So the neighbor was like, it was literally like $2 pavers that they had around this fire pit, and they took them. And then last week, the left side neighbor comes over, and we were like talking about our fireplace and stuff, because I think if you guys remember in a previous vlog how I had told you that the neighbor 2 houses down from us, like, she got a new fireplace insert, and it was like bubbling her paint on her mantle, and Tim had to get her new paint, whatever else. He came in, and because we were talking about fireplaces, we were telling him about ours and how we wanted to have someone come and look at it, because when we bought the house, we were told by the realtor that the fireplace wasn't working. And he was like, I've never known this fireplace not to work. So he opens our fireplace up, and he's like, they took your fucking fireplace log. Like, the thing that you hook the gas light, because it's like a gas fireplace, the thing you hook the gas line up to that, like, you know, catches on fire or whatever, the log. He's like, you gotta be kidding me. They didn't take the log. He said, there wasn't a log in there when you guys moved in. And we were like, no, the realtor told us it just didn't work. He's like, the fireplace worked, because we thought it was weird because the fan worked, but, you know, obviously there's no wood in there to, like, light it on fire or whatever. But he's like, yes, it fucking works. He said, maybe not, I don't know, but I've never known that fireplace not to work. He said, from the last time I saw that fireplace, it was in working condition. He said, if you ask me, it looks like they just took the fire log out, which, if you guys remember, when we went to the fireplace place, the lady there had told us, oh, it sounds like you just need a gas log. So they took the fucking gas log out. What the hell? And then have the audacity to you take lighting fixtures from our house, you take the fucking fire pit, you take the gas log from the fireplace, and then have the audacity to ask us for the flooring, for the fucking carpet, or this stupid little fucking piece of cement that the spouting runs water off into that you could buy at fucking Menards for $5. What the hell? So, I am so glad we're just like done with it, dude. What the fuck? And then when Tim got that call, he's like, oh my god, please, not again, not again. I'm like, block the fucking number this time. There is no way, shape, or form why we should have anything to do with these people anymore. This is our house. They have nothing to do with it anymore. They're done. Like, what the hell? Then I also forgot to mention that the previous neighbor, or the left side neighbor, told us that I guess they had had their house listed before, like a year before. They had listed it from the time that we bought it, right? I'm sorry about the sun. It's like, oh my god, oh my god. Anyways, they had the house listed before, and they found somebody to buy the house. They had somebody put a bid on the house. They wanted this person to, they were going to charge them $189 or something for the house, which is like $20,000 less than what we paid for it. But the stipulation was that they were going to keep the house. They were going to live in that house for 6 months after the people signed over, that they had to pay all the taxes for the entire year for the house, which, by the way, they were like back taxed on. So this, I think he said, was like in September or October, and they wanted them to pay the taxes for the entire year for the house and to let them live there for 6 more months. He's like, that's why they couldn't fucking sell the house. So then, I told Tim, I almost wonder if, the reason, obviously the reason why the realtor didn't want her talking to us because she knew she was fucking crazy, but I almost wonder if the realtor, had called her and told her, like, asked her how the house was going, and when they told them, the realtor, that they still had stuff in the shed, I feel like the realtor probably said, you need to get your shit out of their fucking shed. That is theirs. They have legal rights to anything you leave in that shed, so you need to get it the fuck out. Because it was awfully weird how she kept putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. Then all of a sudden, you know, she freaking, they, like, quick went there Sunday morning, got every little bit of everything they had in that shed out. It was just weird. And the reason why it was weird is because the night before, we had told our realtor that he had called us and asked us how, like, everything was going, and Tim told him the whole story and the whole situation of everything that was going on, and our realtor said, I can reach out to the selling agent if you want. And Tim was like, oh no, and see what I can do about it. Tim was like, oh no, you don't have to do that. We'll figure it out on our own. So I almost wonder if he called her. Anyways, I'll BRB. I just
I think
got
I'm
to
leaving this
school.
one glove in my coat.
Oh, sorry, bro.
Put one of that, please.
All right, I'll see you guys when we get back home. Okay, we back home. So that was basically the story. There was a lot of stuff that I left out too. So it was crazy, girl. That was a crazy couple of weeks. And now I'm like, oh my God, I hope it's not coming back. But anyways, I gotta jump off here because my battery's going dead. I'm gonna end the vlog here too. Because that contractor was supposed to come over from 1 to 3 and it is 2:59. Tim hasn't heard from him, so he's going to be over. Then we'll be eating supper, and then we have to go to karate. So I'm not going to have time to vlog for the rest of the night. So y'all heard it. That was the story. So welcome. Oh, bad outros. Oh, as per usual. Anyways, I am gonna hop off here. I love you guys. Peace, love, and chicken grease. I will see you